how are you? I hope everything's going good and well. So, without wasting much of the time, let us begin with our chapter 2, Is Matter Around Us Pure? Now, in chapter 1, we have studied about what is matter and we had specifically talked about its physical properties, right? Now, in this chapter, we are going to talk about its chemical properties and find out that how can we divide the matter on the basis of their chemical properties. So let us begin here. First I'll show you a flow chart of this thing, that how can you divide matter based upon their chemical properties. Now this flow chart I'm showing you in the very beginning because so that it gives you an outline and a layout that how matter is getting classified into different categories. Now the very first thing, on the basis of the chemical property, you divide it as pure substance or impure substance. Now impure substance is also known as mixture. So if I say mixture, that means we are talking about the impure mixtures only, and the opposite of it is pure substance. Now as the word itself is suggesting pure and impure, that means something which is made up of only one kind of matter and the other thing which is made up of maybe more than two or more kind of substances. So if I talk about the very first one, pure substance, it is a substance which is made up of only one kind of either atom or molecule, whereas impure substance is made up of two or more different kinds of atom or molecule. Now pure substance can be further divided into elements and compounds. Now what are these things? Now if I talk about element is a pure substance, but here the condition is that it is made up of only one kind of atom. That means, for example, if you are talking about copper wire, right? In the copper wire, no matter how many atoms are there, but one thing is sure, that all the atoms are of copper. So copper is an element basically, and copper cannot be broken down into any other substance. It is the most basic form. So copper is an example of element. If you talk about oxygen, that means we are just talking about the oxygen atom, not the oxygen molecule. We are not talking about this one. So if you talk about just the oxygen, that is also again an element, right? And if I talk about the compounds are also pure substances, but here the condition is that they are made up of two or more atoms. For example, if I talk about water, the chemical representation of water you are aware of, that is H2O, right? Here there are two different kinds of atom. What are they? One is oxygen and the other is hydrogen. Similarly, if you talk about salt, which is sodium chloride, it is written as this NaCl. Here again there are two types of atoms of the sodium and of the chlorine. So this will come under the category of compounds. Now why are we saying that it is a pure substance? Because if we talk about a spoonful of salt or like that, the thing is that all the grains that are there of the salt, they all contain only this, that is sodium and chloride. They do not contain any other element. So that is the reason why we classify them as pure substance. Now if we go on to talk about their properties, we can further say that their composition is fixed. By fixed composition we mean that you will always find water in the formula of H2O. That means there are two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom. Even if you're going to change it slightly to this, like for example H2O2, this whole compound will change and this will now become hydrogen peroxide. So we cannot just change these numbers like that. Everything is there in a fixed proportion, right? So this is the difference between an element and a compound. So compounds can be further broken down to the elements, but elements cannot be broken down into simpler substances. Now if we talk about what are the impure substances, now as the word is suggesting itself, impure, that means we are concerned with two or more different substances combined together. So these we will be discussing in detail for this lecture. The impure substances, about we'll talk about the homogeneous and heterogeneous mixtures, and about their examples and properties also. But let me give you a quick further differentiation between the elements and compounds. Then later on we will discuss about the impure mixtures. Now here you can see the difference between elements and compound. Now as you can see, if you talk about helium, right, this contains only helium atoms in it, right? So this is an element. If you talk about oxygen molecule, now this is made up of the elements oxygen, two elements of oxygen, right? But if I talk about the water, for example, then you will see that there are two different kinds of elements that are involved. Then it is called as a compound. If all the atoms are of the same type, then it is called as an element, otherwise it is called as a compound. Now you might be observing here that here we are talking about two atoms, but here about only one. The thing is that when two or more atoms of the same type, that means of one kind, combine, we call that as molecules of element. So it is called as molecules of element, whereas this is called as a single atom of element. So this is the difference, but both of them are basically related with the element only. But if you talk about this case, here two or more atoms are combining, but the thing is that they are also of the different kind, then these are known as the molecules of compounds. So this is the difference between them, the molecules of element and molecules of compound. The thing is that if all of the atoms are of the same kind, you will classify it as an element. If they are of the different kind, then you will classify it as a compound. Now let me show you some more differences that are there. Now this first point I have already explained. Second point, now elements cannot be further divided into simpler substances. That means if there is an element copper, you cannot break it down to some any other small substance. In fact, this is the smallest substance itself, the atom. And here in compounds we can break them down into elements by different chemical means. Just like I told you, you can break the H2O into its different component, that is hydrogen and oxygen, by the different chemical means. However, this is just an example that I am giving you so that you understand that this thing can be broken down. Why it can be broken down? Because eventually it is made up of two or more different kind of atoms, right? So it can be broken down. But here it is made up of only one type of atom. So how can we break it down, right? So this is what we mean by the second point. Now if I talk about the next point over here, there are presently 118 elements that are known to mankind. Some are found naturally occurring, some have been synthesized artificially in the lab. Until now the current count is 118. As for compounds, there is no limit onto it. There are innumerous number of compounds that can be formed, and obviously there is going to be no upper limit on them. Why? Because you think it yourself, when there are 118 types of elements and they can combine in so many permutations, so many combinations, so as a result the number of compound is not fixed. In fact, it is infinite. There are so many and numerous compounds that are there. So I hope you are clear with the difference between the element and the compound. Now let us talk about the mixtures. Now if you remember, mixtures are your impure substances. Now here I have written a specific definition about mixture which involves certain very important points with the help of which you can easily find out that a given substance is a mixture or is it a pure substance. So a mixture is basically any material which, point number 1, contains two or more different atoms or molecules. This is your first condition. That means there has to be two or more different atoms or molecules. Second condition is that they should not react chemically. That means they should just randomly mix with each other, but they should not combine or react chemically. This is what we mean by that. Next thing is they are combined physically in any proportion. Here we need to focus upon the word any proportion. That means, unlike the compounds, like in compounds I told you it is always fixed. Hydrogen has two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen. In mixtures there is nothing such as fixed. It can have different type of proportion. For example, salt and water. If you are going to dissolve the salt or just mix the salt into water, let us check whether it will be a mixture or not. How will we check? We will check all of these three conditions. Number 1 is that are there two or more different atoms or molecule? Of course, yes. So one is the salt and the other is water. So yes. Second is, are they reacting chemically or not? They are not reacting chemically, because you can easily separate the salt and water by evaporation, right? Because if you remember the difference between the chemical reaction and physical reactions, chemical reactions cannot be reversed, but physical reactions can be reversed. So I can obtain the salt and water back by a simple process, evaporation. That means the process can be reversed, so they are not reacting chemically. Also, they can combine in any proportion. I mean, you add 1 teaspoon of salt or you add 2 teaspoon of salt, you can combine in any proportion. It depends upon your taste, how much do you want to add. Similarly, you can talk about the same conditions for sugar and water. If all of these conditions are satisfying, then yes, you can classify it as a mixture. So these are the basic condition, 3 condition in order to check whether it is a mixture, a pure substance or an impure substance, right? Now let me show you the types of mixture. That means how can you classify the mixture based upon their arrangement of the atoms. So we can classify them as homogeneous and heterogeneous. Now what are these homogeneous and heterogeneous mixtures? Let us see that. Now homogeneous mixture, if we first talk about, in this the word homo means uniform. So if there is going to be a uniform pattern in which these atoms are arranged, then that is known as a homogeneous mixture. Can you see that there is a uniform pattern, one after another? One is red, one is yellow, one is red, one is yellow. So this is a uniform pattern. Whereas in the heterogeneous mixture, the word hetero stands for non-uniform. So you can easily see up here that there is no specific arrangement about the atoms. On this side the red particles are more, on this side the yellow particles are more. So there is no uniform arrangement of the atoms or molecules. And the examples of them are salt solution, lemonade and soft drink. Now salt solution is a homogeneous mixture. You can see it at the microscopic level. But what if I say that check whether the salt solution is homogeneous or not without a microscope? How are you going to check that? The thing is that there's a very simple answer. You just need to check the taste of this salt solution at different layers. Suppose in this glass you have salt solution, fine. Now you take a spoon out of it, suppose from this layer, you try to taste it up, you will have a certain specific salty taste. Now you try to take out a layer from below, again you're going to have the same taste. This similarity in taste, no matter you take from any layer, tells you that it is homogeneous in nature. अगर ऊपर कुछ और टेस्ट आ रहा है, नीचे कम टेस्ट आ रहा है या अलग टेस्ट आ रहा है, दैट मीन्स इट इज़ नॉट होमोजेनस. Homogeneous means it has to be uniform throughout. Now be it anything, be you talk about the taste, you talk about the arrangement of atom, everything has to be uniform. So at the microscopic level you can see it with the help of these pictures, but at the macroscopic level, that means at the larger level you talk about, you can see it with activities like this. So salt solution, lemonade and soft drink are some of the examples of the homogeneous mixtures. And if I talk about the heterogeneous mixture, for example chalk powder and water, if you take some chalk powder and just add it into water, you will see at at the bottom there is more chalk, at the above top layer there is less chalk, so there is not a uniform concentration throughout. So it is an example of a heterogeneous mixture. I hope till now the concept is clear, that we had divided matter on the basis of their chemical property into two main categories, pure and impure. Impure is basically mixture only, and in mixture till now we have talked about two types of mixture, heterogeneous and homogeneous. Now let me show you some more examples of homogeneous and heterogeneous mixtures. Now here heterogeneous mixtures, as you can see, the particles are distributed non-uniformly. For example, cereal in a milk, ice in soda, in fact soil. These are heterogeneous mixtures. Homogeneous mixtures are where the particles are distributed uniformly. For example, like any alcoholic drink, if you talk about, so if you talk about steel, which is an alloy, if you talk about air or rain, these all are homogeneous mixtures because the particles are distributed uniformly. Now if I talk about what are the properties of mixture, that means what are some of the common characteristics of mixture. Number one is that they can be either homogeneous or heterogeneous, right? Uniform composition or non-uniform composition. Next is that they can be in any composition. As I told you, you can mix as much amount of sugar or salt in water, that is your choice. No fixed ratio, any proportion, any composition. Next one is it does not have a fixed boiling point or a melting point. Now this is very important point actually. Suppose you are given any substance A and you do not know whether it is pure or impure, then you check it with the help of its boiling point or melting point. Now if the boiling point of this substance comes accurate, that means it is pure, no other element has been mixed into it. But if it comes either below or above the melting point or the boiling point, that means it is not pure, there are some impurities present in it. So this point is very important, it helps you to distinguish between the pure and impure substances. Next one is that no chemical reaction takes place during their formation. As I told you, mixtures के अंदर जितने भी components participate कर रहे हैं, they are just mixing with each other, they are not reacting with each other. That is the thing. And obviously when no chemical reaction is going to take place, which means that no heat will be evolved nor any heat will be absorbed during that process, right? Next point is again very important, that it shows the properties of its constituents. Suppose if you mix some iron fillings, that means iron, and you mix it with the sulfur powder, you just mix it in any proportion you want, fine. Now this mixture that is formed, it will show both the properties of iron and of sulfur. This I will explain to you in a little while. And next point is that these constituents can be separated by physical means. So you can easily separate this mixture into its constituent. You can separate the iron, you can separate the sulfur. So that is a mixture. These are the basic properties of mixture. Now here is the case which I was just telling you, that when you mix iron fillings and sulfur powder. Now this yellow powder is basically the sulfur powder, and these are the iron fillings that are there. When you mix them up, it looks like this. Now you can see there is a non-uniform composition. कहीं पे iron ज़्यादा है, यहाँ पर कम है, right? So this is a mixture, and we have just mixed them in any proportion, any ratio, right? Now one thing is that you can separate it by a physical method. Now here this person is separating the iron fillings with the help of a magnet. With the help of a magnet, all these iron fillings will get attracted towards the magnet, and नीचे क्या रह जाएगा? Sulfur powder. So that means the two components have been easily separated by the physical means, not by any chemical reaction. However, if you are going to heat the iron fillings and sulfur powder, then it will be a compound. It will no longer be a mixture. In fact, a solid black compound like this will form. And now if you try to bring a magnet near it, no iron will be separated out. That means, is it now a mixture? No. Now it has formed a compound. That means some chemical reaction has taken place between iron fillings and sulfur. So this is the difference that I was trying to explain between iron and sulfur powder. I hope this much is clear. Now till now, what we have studied, let us see. Matter, we had classified them into two types, pure and impure, based upon whether they can be physically separated or not. If it can be physically separated, you go to the category of mixture. If it cannot be, then you go to the pure substances. Now in pure substances, can it be further broken? If it cannot be further broken, then you go to the category of elements. If it can be broken, then you go to the category of compounds. And obviously the compounds are going to break down to elements only. And if you come to this side, mixture. If there is uniform composition, it is a homogeneous mixture. If there is a non-uniform composition, it is a heterogeneous mixture. I hope this much is clear. Now comes your final classification of homogeneous and heterogeneous mixture. Homogeneous mixture has only one type, which is known as solution, or in other words it is also known as true solution. Heterogeneous mixture has two types, colloids and suspension. So we are now going to talk about the true solution, colloids and suspension, and about their properties, what is the difference between them. But we will be discussing them in the next video. Till then, do revise these concepts and try to understand how have we divided the matter into the mixture and pure substances based upon their chemical properties, right? So till then, do revise and keep learning. And if you like the video, then do like it up, and thank you. Keep learning.